Are you this guy that you know you're good health wise? You know you don't have a problem with your health, but you're not good in lasting long in bed. I'm the kind of guy that tells people that before you go into checking things to do with your health, whether it's to go into medication or supplements, I tell you first and foremost, what if the problem has nothing to do with your health being bad? What if the problem is just a physical thing that or a mental thing that you need to take care of? And this is something I do a lot to myself, and I've experienced great results out of it. The first thing I would like to say, like I spoke earlier, is our health necessarily might not be the problem, especially if you're sure that you've taken care of yourself properly, you eat correctly. And when I talk about eating correctly, you have to understand that for every age that you get to, you need to be careful with what you eat. When you're in your 20s, what you take, you could be more careless with what you eat. Then when you get to your 30s, you have to be a little bit much more careful. And then once you get to your 40s, you need to be extremely careful with what you take. Like I myself as a person, I'm extremely careful with too much intake of sugar and oils. I'm very careful about my health. Are you doing the right things concerning your health? Do you eat right? Do you sleep right? You understand me? Are you off drugs? Do you control your intake of alcohol? If you're sure you've handled all this, then let's move to the next thing, your mind. The first thing you have to understand is the brain is like the CPU of the entire human body. And it's in the brain that we have our minds, and our minds can make you experience things that you don't expect. In fact, every experience that a man has is a reflection of the state of mind. So what am I trying to say? You see, when you go into having sex, you need to be in full control how your mind feels. Now, a lot of people, when they are having they go into sexual experiences, they have fear in them, they have tension, they worry, and this is not good when you're trying to have sex, because with this it triggers the stress hormone in the body. It triggers your adrenaline and other hormones that make your body like put itself in the fight or flight mode. And then when it does that, you begin to panic, you get tensed, and then your body is seeking for a way to relieve itself. Your body starts, you start hyperventilating, you start, you're no more relaxed, and your muscles all tensed up, and it makes you not be able to be in full control of yourself, particularly while during the sex. Maybe when you begin to feel like you're about to ejaculate, if you were in a much more controlled state, you would be able to control how you can. But if you allow fear, tension, and things to come up on you, you wouldn't have been able to perform perfectly. Like I know when you meet a girl for the first time, it happens a lot. Like when people have that first experience, they can say they were scared, maybe because they were not sure they were impress the lady or they would do well, stuff like that. So it's understandable when it's your first experience. But when you become that man that every single time you meet with a lady, you have fear in you, you're never ever going to perform rightly. You're always going to ejaculate before you expect yourself to do that. So you need to be in control of your mind. And then the next thing I like to talk about is your physical condition. What's your physical condition like? Now, I know sex is an enjoyable thing. Sex feels like more of just a creative kind of thing, a recreational kind of a thing, but it's actually more like exercise, because mind you, throughout the entire process, you're moving back and forth, back and forth. There is no pause. Maybe you only pause when you want to switch positions, so maybe you're trying to hold yourself when you feel that ejaculation coming the first time. But you see, if you're in good physical condition, you would perform better in bed. So now, how do you get yourself in better physical condition? You don't need to hit the gym for all that. All you need to do is every day in the morning, do some press ups. I mean, you're a man, for goodness sake. You need to do some press ups and do some sit ups. You can, if you don't want to go out for a run, you can jog one spot in your house for like 30 minutes. Find some activity to make you sweat at least for like 30 straight minutes. So when you do these things, you get more physically fit. and you perform better. Um, I remember when I was much younger, if I knew I was gonna have sex and it wasn't coming unexpectedly, before the lady arrived to my place, I would make sure I like do some press ups, do some jogs, just get my system physically strong because it helps. It kinds of take your mind away from the tension, from the stress about the whole thing. So, but all in all, if you're in physically good condition, you perform better in bed. That's why you could hear a lot of girls if they see a footballer or a sports person, someone who is really maybe an athlete, performing like for several straight hours, like footballers that can play for like 90 straight minutes. You hear ladies say things like such men will be good in bed. And most of the times, with every other thing being equal, most sports people are good in bed because they have this stamina. They've trained their system. Stress, they don't get tired on the way. And you see, when you're not physically fit and you're having sex, if it gets to the point you get stressed, and then your hormones would kick in and you just want it to end, and it brings it to an end. So try to be physically fit. That will help you a lot. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is our mood going into sex. The mood you're in when you're going to sex is extremely important. When you're overexcited, it makes the simplest ecstasy that you get, you easily ejaculate, which I understand. Maybe you see this fine chick, beautiful shape, nice curves, or maybe you're the type that like women with big boobs or a butt and stuff, or a well curvy lady, and when she undresses you see all that beauty and you can't help yourself, you get excited. But as a man, you should learn to control your excitement. When you get overexcited, you ejaculate easily. Now let me explain to you why that excitement thing, why it actually hampers your ability to perform very well in sex. Some men, like myself was the person, if I easily wanted to ejaculate, maybe I've been having sex with this girl and she's tired and she just wants us to end it all, I would tell her to turn, so that I would get it from the back. You know what I'm trying to be civil here on this channel. So whenever she turns around, my excitement goes up because I kind of love the view when I'm seeing it from behind. This makes me much more excited, and then the possibility coming faster happens. And then if the girl, because sometimes you would want to make sure you're taking care of the girl before you come as a person, and by the time you've done your job and you realize she just wants you to come and it's not coming, you now look for a position that makes you more excited, and then you turn around. Some guys like the women's legs up in the air. Me as a person, to make it easier for me, I would tell her to turn around. So generally as a man, if you know there's a certain position that makes you excited when you are like gonna have sex with a girl, maybe you should keep that very position until later. Like what I do, I don't go doggy until the very last point of it. From the very beginning, I don't do doggy. And there are certain positions that every man has, that when he's having sex, the excitement goes down. Maybe you don't see a lot of the woman's body. Like if you love to see big boobs and you know it gets you overexcited, then I would advise you start with sideways position, or from the back, or just some position that you don't get to see the boobs a lot. And then when you've performed to a point you know that she should be okay, or you guys have gone on a good marathon, then you can now allow yourself to get excited, see what you need to see, put yourself in the right position to get it done. And the final point I'm going to talk about is experiences. There's this thing about having sex. The least experience you have, the more excited you usually are, the more tense you could easily be, and also you could easily get tired in between that is if you've not been physically fit. Normally, the more sexual experiences you have, the better you become. I'm not saying you should become a flirt, sleep around with every single lady you see. Even with your main lady, the more experiences you have having sex with her, you should get to the point that your excitement wouldn't be as high as the very first time. But generally speaking, I would advise the more sexual experience you have, the better for you. And that's why a lot of men, even when they're good in bed, but they've not had sex for a long time, when they meet with with a lady, they underperform. If you're such a person, you shouldn't feel bad about it because it's just normal human experiences. But the more experienced you are, the more you last, the more you perform better, the least excited you get. Basically, for men that have had sex with a lot of ladies, they don't easily get overexcited because they've seen all forms of shape, size, weight, looks. You understand what I'm saying? They've experienced a lot of things. So with all that experience, even whatever you see doesn't actually it doesn't actually make you lose control of yourself. So you need to be that man that has full control of himself, have the experiences. With all this said, if you still discover you're having problems, then maybe you should check if you have health issues. You go check for STDs or check if there are one, two, three things. But as we go on this channel, I'm going to tell you other things that you can do to take care of yourself. Maybe certain parts of your body needs to be exercised. You understand? Even there are penile exercises that you could also do, and there are different things that you could do. I have a book that I've written. I'm not selling this book to anyone. It's free. You can go to Amazon. It's called The Sex Iron Man. So stay with me if you want to have more tips and points on how to improve your sexual life and how to improve yourself as a man in your relationships with girls, with your wives, with friends, and generally how to handle your life. See you next time.